Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. I am your host and superior webhead master, Jarod Bachman-Stubbs, and joining me, as always, is your resident Green Lantern Professor, Travis Grossman.
Happy Goten Day.
Happy Goten Day, happy late Goku Day, happy late Mother's Day. Happy late birthday to Piccolo Day.
It was also Goku Day because Piccolo takes over the world on May 9th and declares it Piccolo Day.
When does my boy have a day? Or is he just is he just
it's in
that?
August.
Okay.
Because we've looked at that before. It's sometime in August. Because the Sun
expect
family,
me to be celebrating the Prince of All Saiyans.
the Sun family days are all because of the name pun, because Goku is 5'9", so
Yeah.
May 9th, and then Goten. And I don't think Han is 8, but they were just like, well, Gohan needs a day. Gohan deserves a day.
He absolutely deserves a day. I agree. I agree with you completely. Yeah, we have some news for you guys.
You missed the Dragon Ball story, actually.
I missed the Dragon Ball. That's the one that I've sent to you personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I opened YouTube on, because I followed, a bunch of Dragon Ball creators.
Yeah.
I opened YouTube on, I want to say it was May 7th our time. It was like already Gohan Day in Japan. And my sub feed is flooded with rumors of Dragon Ball Super movie announcement on Goku Day. Followed then the next day by official announcement of a new Dragon Ball Super movie coming in 2022. And I have no idea what they're going to do because the manga's been going for Dragon Ball Super. Like the show stopped, the manga caught up, and then the manga kept going. And it's been like 3 years. So maybe they're going to fight the magic goat. I don't know.
Sure. We can go with that. I like the sound of that. I need to watch Super.
You need to watch parts of Super.
I'll let you curate what I watch of Super.
It's long and doesn't have a lot of substance, but the fights look really neat. Usually.
Yeah. But yeah, as you guys probably noticed, there's no TV talk today, which is new. However, I will say, not realizing I was still logged into Travis's Amazon Prime Video account,
I noticed that.
I blasted through Invincible this past week, and you two need to watch that shit.
I keep seeing all the memes and I'm like getting interested.
It's so good. It's so good. Like I'm going to turn myself down first of all, but it's like the boys had a baby with the Justice League cartoon.
Okay.
Is kind of the best way to describe it. Like it has some of that edge. It has a lot of that edge of the boys where it's vulgar and violent. Nowhere near as horny. I feel like there's one like sexually driven scene that I can even think of. You don't even really see anything. And then other than that, like because there's moments in the boys that are wholesome and earnest that aren't like completely driven by like irony and cynicism. Well, like this show, there's a lot of this has a more interesting like earnestness, embracing superhero myth, while also having that like also superheroes would be pieces of shit element to it. So I highly, highly, highly recommend Invincible. It is a phenomenal watch, stellar cast. Like it pulls out all the stops, like Sandra Oh, J.K. Simmons, Stephen Young.
Please tell me J.K. Simmons is playing who I think he's playing.
He's playing Omni-Man.
Thank God.
It's perfect. He just melts into the role.
That's the meme I keep seeing. Right? Think. And I just can't not hear it in his voice.
Think, Mark!
I didn't know it was from that show at first. I thought it was some Spider-Man cartoon where J. Jonah Jameson got superpowers and wore that suit. I had no idea it was from Invincible.
Because it looks like Jameson. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw other pictures of the two of them. I was like, oh, this is from that new Amazon show that people are talking about. And I was like, slightly disappointed that there wasn't some funny version of like superhero Jameson somewhere.
But yeah, no, it's really good. I can't remember the last time I finished a show and was this like, all right, when are you giving me the second season, you sons of bitches? So, if you or Lexi or anybody else in the network starts watching, there's a good chance we start covering Invincible in season 2. So harass them to watch it so I have an excuse to cover it on here. And I don't like doing stuff by myself because I don't like just talking into a camera alone. It makes me feel weird and it gets me a little existential and I don't like it. But we do have news for you guys this week, including our first story. We have a poster and trailer for Venom, There Be Carnage. And Travis, how did you feel about the trailer?
It looked and felt exactly how I thought it would look and feel. It looks like they're embracing the thing that got memed about Venom, which was the like Eddie Brock Venom like roommate relationship. Right? So I'm down for that. I still haven't watched Venom, so
we're gonna make you before it comes out. My plan is to sit the both of you down and do this together. Because I want to watch both of you see the lobster tank scene. I refuse to not be in the room when you guys get to watch him go full Jordan Peterson.
I just like they are bold to have this come out this year only in theaters. That is a very bold choice.
Venom 2 is about to save cinemas.
Where Tenet could not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Eat your heart out, Chris Nolan. Andy Serkis is here to take your place. I keep forgetting this is directed by Andy Serkis as well.
I forgot until you just said that. So you know what? I think that's forgivable.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head. What?
He didn't direct the first one, did he?
No.
Okay, I didn't think
he did not. I can't remember who did, but it was not Serkis. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but we also did get confirmation from Andy Serkis today that the cop we see in the trailer. One moment. I want to make sure I have the name correct. So we get the confirmation that the cop we see in the trailer is named Patrick Mulligan. Now, this would not be important if not for the fact that this is, a bunch of symbiote-based stuff. Patrick Mulligan is the individual who takes up the moniker of Toxin and is another person in the Venom family tree, as it were. So that's something to keep your eyes out for. might have another symbiote come into play by the end of the movie, other than just Venom and Carnage. This movie, having just seen Mortal Kombat, right? I wanted going into that like a serious attempt to adapt that batshit crazy lore, right? I didn't get that. I got a dumb popcorn movie that had a Mortal Kombat aesthetic and used character names and abilities and stuff. And in hindsight, I'm kind of glad that's what I got, because I had a lot of fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel like if you tried to make a serious Mortal Kombat movie, it would come off like Thor: The Dark World.
Just too over serious and
because like
you might be right. You might be absolutely right. And there's like a little bit of a superhero snob with me, where anytime I see this stuff get adapted, I want to see it be, I want the fence to be swung for. I want every adaptation to pour every ounce of talent and ability into it to make it as faithful and like not serious in like a Dark Knight, dark and gritty, Zack Snyder serious kind of way, but like we take the character and we take the material seriously. Like I want the MCU for everything, and I need to learn that that's not going to happen for everything. And Venom is perfect proof of that. I'm not going to get like a dark Lethal Protector type story. We still don't know how this ties into the MCU, if it will at all. Apparently there's a shot in the trailer where in the newspaper the guy's flipping through, it says something Avengers in there. Continuing.
Of course it does. Of course it does. I love that. Because like they kind of did the same thing, and the Netflix shows never actually made it into continuity, right? But clearly that was the plan originally, was that these shows were going to end up,
because they kept mentioning the Battle of New York.
And it just like it made sense that like that was forgivable, that these like semi superhumans were going unnoticed, right? They were either laying low or like, Daredevil's Daredevil, but like when you're an Avenger, you're not looking at street crime in New York. I almost said climb.
And that's just how that's how that works in the comics, where like you have your street level heroes, in Marvel, where you have your Spider-Mans and Daredevils and people who take care of shit like the Magia and
No one in those shows, to my recollection, of course, by the time they would have gotten to this point, they were separate, but like the first 2 seasons of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, no one had like ridiculous powers.
Not really. I mean, like Kilgrave is kind of like the biggest power threat, and then the fucking dragon in Defenders, but it was like they were normal. They were passing normal people. Yeah. Right. We didn't have like an Abomination running around. Yeah.
Versus people are going to talk about Venom.
Yeah.
People are going to hear about the big black sludge monster that's eating people. Someone's going to go find Tony Stark and be like, hey man, down the street from your tower, there's been this weird black sludge thing that eats people's heads. Can we do something about that, Mr. Stark? Can we please?
I'm really curious.
Kind of friendly. He kind of just likes a lot of tater tots, but also heads.
I really badly, again, like it's like, and we got to find out what the MCU connection is, right? Because like we know Vulture is showing up in Morbius. Supposedly. And this and Morbius are allegedly supposed to take place in the same universe. And Oh, don't worry, guys. We're going to talk about another hilarious revelation about shit that takes place in the same universe. Stay tuned for a later story. Oh, you're not ready for it. You're not ready for it. We're going to be talking about a movie that we both love very much. Go
on.
But yeah, there's just like I enjoy the silliness here. And I think that the biggest hurdle the movie has for me at this point is crossing the threshold from silly roommate comedy and also like the really, really like intense aesthetic, right? Because like it's silly when it's Eddie and Venom, and it's like ta-da! With like the breakfast and shit, and hi, Mrs. Han, when like the tendril pops out of him, and then we see Carnage and Venom like tethered up in the tendrils in the church, and like it has all this deep iconography and like the relationship between Venom and a church, and then just that deep lore element that like not deep lore, but like his comic origins of how he gets it from Peter. I am afraid that it's going to be as like weirdly tonally bipolar as the first one was, because it wanted to be dark and scary in certain points. And then there were other scenes where Venom would just look at Eddie and go, fucking pussy, like that was just what happened in the movie. And it was really hard to kind of not be so jarred by it. I'm curious as how this handles it.
I would expect this to be on the level of an Aquaman, where it's like Aquaman isn't necessarily a good movie. As someone who really enjoyed Aquaman, I can admit it's not that good of a movie, but you have a lot of fun watching it, and like the stuff in it looks cool. So it's like, yeah, I sat down, I ate some popcorn, I watched a movie, I had fun. I think it's going to be that like similar feeling where it's like, yeah, I sat down, I watched a movie, it had some funny bits, and Venom looked fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Right? Like the
Venom and Carnage ripped each other to shreds, and I had a good time.
Yeah, I think that's where we're going to end up. Like it's going to take that very bipolar tone and just actually find that medium, and not necessarily be a good movie.
Yeah,
but
also
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna make a joke. Keep saying what you were saying.
On the basis of enjoyment, like it'll raise it from like, well, the plot doesn't make sense. Yeah, but I had a fun time, so it's gonna be at least a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, and I think there's like, it's the dramatic imagery that I'm really hoping I'm liking from this the most. Like, I don't want just one shot that is Venom strung up by symbiote in front of a stained glass window. I want that shit all over the movie. Right? Like that, like if we're going to get someone like Andy Serkis on board, that's what I want to see more of. I want to see him like bring like, I want to see a visual style that is very striking in that way. The joke I was going to make is that based off of this trailer in the very beginning, I think we finally have a good representation to explain to people what we mean when we say that we share a brain cell. Because that's it. That like when we talk about the Dago dyad, that's it. It's Venom and Eddie. Who's who? Take your pick. But that's the
depends on the day.
Depends on the day. Some days you're a little Eddie, sometimes I'm a little Eddie, sometimes I'm a little Venom, sometimes you're a little Venom. But yeah, I want to talk about the poster, which I tried to embed in the show notes, and then it completely destroyed them.
I will search for them.
Search on Twitter, because when you try to Google it, you can still only find fan art posters. That may be different. And here's the problem. And I don't want to shit on the people who work very hard on this stuff. But the poster kind of looks like a bad fan art. Like, it's cool and it's striking, but like there's something about it that just looks weirdly colored. Yeah, where it's like the POV is Carnage's tongue. Which, speaking of Carnage, it looks like Woody Harrelson's having a damn good time.
Oh yeah,
he's enjoying the shit out of it.
I think that's going to be the difference here. Is that this time everyone like knows what they're getting into. Has a better grasp of what the movie's supposed to be, and like is going to have more fun making it. Therefore, that'll, I say this all the time, but when you can tell when the people that are making a movie had fun doing it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like the performances in the Snyder cut look better than the Whedon cut because the people on the Snyder, like when they did the Snyder cut, they were enjoying themselves.
That's fair. That's fair. That's completely valid. But yeah, poster's a little iffy for me. Not completely sold on it, but yeah, very, very, very excited for this in a silly way. Very excited.
I'm not like surprised that they're still going only in theaters, but I would not be surprised if the date got pushed again.
Yeah. I don't think you're wrong.
Because September's only a few months away. And they could do it. If I'm in that room of people deciding, I would be iffy. I would be unsure. Also, apparently there's a Stan Lee cameo in the shop. He's on a magazine.
Excellent. I like hearing that. Speaking of Stan Lee, we were not talking about news last week when this lovely little MCU Sizzle Reel came out. We got the reiteration of some release dates, which we will go
some
over.
First-time release dates. Like I know the one for Ant-Man, we didn't have a release date before that.
We didn't.
So,
I thought we knew that one. I am happily wrong.
We had like an idea, but now everything has official release dates, which I'm sure are subject to change and will change in the near future. But
gonna run through the release dates. So we have because this is basically the little everything they showed. Obviously, Black Widow still has its July 9th date. Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings is maintaining its September 3rd.
The Venom's gonna be terrible.
Oh my god!
If Shang-Chi's also only in theaters, it's still Venom. I don't know. Maybe actually it'll hurt Shang-Chi.
I don't know. I feel like it being like concretely MCU. I think Venom might get soloed. I think Venom might get soloed.
I think they might just end up net hurting each other. Honestly,
that could be the case as well. A couple months later,
unless Shang-Chi has a Disney Plus release,
that might help it out.
Mm-hmm.
November 5th, we still have Eternals. December 17th, Spider-Man No Way Home. Flipping through here, we still have March 25th, 2022. On my birthday, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. May 6th, 2022, Thor, Love and Thunder. And then we have a confirmed title for our Black Panther sequel, July 8th, 2022, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. We also had confirmation about the way that we also heard from Ryan Coogler about the way he's retooling the script and how it's meant to be a love letter to Chadwick Boseman.
Go ahead.
No, what were you saying?
That I hadn't watched the Sizzle Reel until today.
Yeah,
I knew it existed. I knew it existed, and there was Eternals footage in it. and that's all I knew. I didn't know they had announced other stuff in it. And when I saw that title, I was like, that is kind of perfect. Like
it's excellent. Also, in the vein of perfect titles, we have our Captain Marvel sequel titled simply The Marvels. And fun little nuggets in the logo. We have what looks like the sword logo that Monica Rambeau wears, and the S in The Marvels is Kamala Khan's logo, which also we got to see the leaked set photos of her outfit, and wow!
Yep, there's just going to be no misses in the because they're already going for the weird characters. They're going to do their costumes. Like at this point, we're not going to have like a weird modernized like realistic version of the Miss Marvel costume. It's just going to be the Miss Marvel costume.
Mitch, whenever he was on, or maybe it was ever I was doing their Falcon and the Winter Soldier cast, either one, they were talking about how, I think it was him, moving away from adaptations of costumes and moving to translations was the verbiage. I believe it was Mitch who said that.
That's an excellent way to put it. That's very accurate.
And from everything we've seen, that's 100% what it is. And then I'm trying to see. Yes, and then we have release dates for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, February 17th, 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. And it ends on Fantastic Four, which we know is supposed to release in 2023 as well. And this kind of links to another story. We know that Blade has also been pushed back a little bit. So yeah,
which isn't surprising.
And notably Blade and it's completely lost and I had it right in front of me. One moment. Blade and Deadpool were notably not on the slate, even though we know they are forthcoming. But yeah, so exciting stuff. Travis, you were saying you were excited by the Wakanda Forever subtitle.
Yeah.
Any other standouts here for you?
I'm just glad we have dates again. Like, this feels like Marvel going, hey, we're back on track. Like, we know where we're going now.
Yeah, see you at the movies type shit.
The Blade delay is nice to hear. Like, it's nice to hear words from them. Not that I was worried that the project was going to get dropped, right? But like, and it makes sense. It's a thing that they were like, we're making Blade. It's going to star Mahershala Ali. That's all we've got for you right now. That in the wake of COVID, it was one of the things that they didn't really have to comment on because it was already so not concrete. Same with Deadpool, same with Fantastic Four. They just announced Fantastic Four that it's happening.
Yeah.
So for them to just reaffirm like, hey, we know 2023, that's all we got for you right now, which means they're probably still working on casting. They're probably still like script writing, Do
you know the atrocities I'd commit to look at the short list for the Fantastic Four movie?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so excited, man. I think it's my most barring Spider-Man for obvious reasons, because you can't compare them for me.
I would say between the two for me, I'm more excited for Fantastic Four, not even because I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan. For some reason, as a kid, I really loved Rise of the Silver Surfer. I don't know why, but I thought that movie was cool as a little kid. But I'm just excited that the Fox merger is going to work out, and what that opens up. Like, I can finally get into these things the way I've gotten into Marvel pretty much entirely, because I've never been into X-Men, right? I've been aware of X-Men. I like Wolverine. That's about where it stops. But the MCU can finally be the gateway for people. So
I think it's my most anticipated project in Phase 4. Like every time I see that, because like it's literally just like a pointy 4. That's all we've gotten. And
do you think
every
it's
time
still?
I see the pointy 4, I light up.
Do you think we're going to drop phases? I think we might be done with phases.
I don't know. I think that it's a good marketing thing for them. I think it's easy to be like, okay, here's your phase whatever box set.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the phase ending movie is no longer going to be an Avengers flick every time, though. Like, we're already, like, I wasn't counting, but I already feel like phase 4 is going to be bigger than phase 3.
Yeah, like that's what I
And
mean.
phase
It's
3 was
tough.
massive. Yeah.
Because they've got,
I think
10, 11 movies. That's if you don't count Blade. That's and the TV shows, right? There's like 8 TV shows in there. So I'm not sure. I think we might be done with phases. I think we might just be on to.
I really hope not. I really hope not. I hope they keep the concept of the phases around as like era markers.
I'm not saying that as like they need to get rid of this. I'm saying that either like this is either a really packed phase or they might be starting to look away from it, right? That because like I said, there's just so much now, right? It's if it was just the movies, that'd be one thing. But like
there is a lot now, and I think they also like after phase 3 have started going like I think they're more willing to have jam-packed phases now. You know, because like phase 4 I feel like is dedicated to reconstructing the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that a lot, you know, like by the end of a phase 4, truly we are going to have like all the pieces back where they need to be. And like all the holes and all the roles that need filled will be filled by the end of phase 4. So very exciting stuff. Obviously we got Eternals footage. Wasn't a whole lot, but we did get to see some of the cast and, you know, it looks beautiful, which was to be expected.
We talked in person, I think, about them, the director shooting for actual sets, not sound stages. And it comes across in the couple of shots we got. The wide shots especially.
Moving on to a more serious story. We have confirmation from Gal Gadot officially calling attention to the fact that Joss Whedon did, in fact, make threats towards her career during the shooting of the Justice League reshoots. This is per Rolling Stone. Gal Gadot said the filmmaker Joss Whedon threatened her career while they were working together on the DC Comics movie Justice League. In an interview with Israel's N12 News, Gadot was asked about previous reports regarding the contentious atmosphere on the set of the Justice League, including claims that Whedon didn't approve of Gadot's attempt to change her character, and the director allegedly told Wonder Woman to be pretty and say her lines. When asked by the interview whether she was going to let Whedon get away with it, Gadot replied no. She continued, what I had with Joss basically is that he kind of threatened my career and said if I did something, he would make my career miserable. I handled it on the spot. Gadot previously commented on Whedon's alleged behavior, although in much less specific terms. Back in 2020, December of 2020, I had my own experience with him, which wasn't the best one. I took care of it and it happened. I took it to the higher ups and they took care of it. So, you know, the disgusting web of Joss Whedon's bullshit continues to kind of spread. Ray Fisher was talking about how he had a similar issue with Jeff Johns. Again, he was talking about it again today. You know, the grave gets buried deeper and deeper. And yeah. Fuck Joss Whedon. We already talked about Blade. other little fun nugget here. Travis, this is a Green Lantern story. I think this is in your jurisdiction.
Yeah, let me open the tab again. We got a casting for Guy Gardner in HBO Max's Green Lantern show that I don't know when it's coming out. I think maybe next year or something.
Yes.
I have
sounds
no
right.
idea. But they cast Guy Gardner.
forgot
His
the
name,
release date.
they've cast actor Peter Finn Whitrock as Guy Gardner. I don't know who this guy is. Apparently, he was a star on Mad Men. So I'm going to assume he's pretty cool and good.
Yeah, it says here stuff
of
good. Yeah, it says he was also on American Horror Story, and he looks familiar. So I feel like, yeah, it looks like he's a good fit for Gardner. Like he has the look, he has the face for it. Travis is someone who's a little bit more Green Lantern knowledgeable. How do you feel about this? Do we like it?
Yeah, he looks good. Looks like he'll play the part. They might have to dye his hair a little red, but that's not the most important thing. It's still weird to me that this is going to be our of the lanterns people know, like of the main, because when you ask someone to name Green Lanterns, they're going to say Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and then their next one's either going to be Kyle or Guy Gardner, probably.
Yeah,
and it's still really strange, not in a bad way. It's strange to me that we're focusing on Guy and Alan and these. They're taking a big swing here. Like they want to try to make this show not just the Hal Jordan show.
Yeah. You know what I wouldn't mind? And this would be very bold of them. And like it's almost like trying to do The Last Jedi, but Luke is actually a Sith Lord on the island, right? I think if they do like how The Force Awakens begins, Luke Skywalker has vanished. I think if they kind of come at this at the angle of like Hal Jordan is missing in action, and just then like maybe fold it over into like the Parallax shit, like you get to bring Hal in and then do a darker story with Parallax and him being the villain, and introduce everybody to this core of lanterns. And then
it's interesting to me too that in this article they mentioned that Alan Scott, like when he's in the show, it'll be in 1941, and that Guy will be in 1984. So like they're going to be in the timelines they're supposed to be, right? Which is strange.
I keep forgetting that element. Yeah, I'd scratch what I said then. I don't think it'd be kind of weird to try to do the Parallax thing.
Yeah. Also, it seems that they're. Do you mind? I live next to a highway. But that it seems like Alan Scott's going to be a member of the Corps, which is not normal for him, but I'm not going to be upset by it, because usually his ring is powered by the green and not the power batteries, but I mean, they can do whatever they want, and it'll be fine. I think getting this kind of anthology look will be neat, because we're also going to get Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, which are two of the more modern lanterns. Kilowog and Sinestro will be there, but they probably won't be there when Alan Scott's there. And if they are, then they're both just immortal, I guess.
Yeah. Do some long-lived aliens bullshit.
And apparently we should be expecting an Alan Scott casting soon, according to this article. So
I like to hear that.
So exciting stuff. I am looking forward to this, right? I just hope they don't screw it up, right? I don't want another Titans on my hands. Which we didn't have it in the notes. We got some set photos of Arkham Asylum for Titans last week.
Oh, I didn't see that. I did not see that. Also, we got casting for Scarecrow.
Yeah. So they're just making Gotham again. Like they're just remaking Gotham as a show, but now it actually has the Bat family in it.
Only instead of it's Gotham without Batman. Now it's Gotham, but Batman is scarily old.
But also still working and not scarily old.
Yeah, nothing against Ian Glenn. He's phenomenal. He's a good Bruce Wayne from the clips that I've seen of him. Like he's not bad at playing Bruce.
He's a better Alfred.
Yeah.
Like that's just it, man. He's I think they told him he was Alfred, filmed all his scenes, and then we're like, just kidding, you're Bruce Wayne.
I want you to be right so badly. That would be so goddamn funny.
Or at least his first scene. And then like he didn't stop acting that way. So but yeah, it's not his fault by any means.
No.
But also he's still taking, because like we have a Tim Drake now, so he's still taking Robins and he's like 70. I don't know how old he is. I feel bad.
It's like I was about to say it's like an old billionaire who's like fooling around with like a younger woman and just like won't stop making children. But that's literally the same thing minus the sex. Like it's like he's just not making them. He just won't stop adopting these children. So again, it's the Panda Red, one of my favorite people on comic book TikTok. Just Alfred, call the guy.
I also apparently Titans season 3 is still supposed to come out this year, right?
Allegedly, I haven't seen any date changes.
So, I mean, for my mental health, I sure hope it isn't, but here we are.
I got to the end of Invincible and I was like, man, I want to watch more superhero shit. I could get started on Titans. You know what? It's 3 a.m. I'm going to go to bed.
You made the right decision. You made the correct decision. Good God. But yeah, excited for Green Lantern. I'm excited for Green Lantern to get some love. I don't want to say it because I finally stopped getting them, but Google, because I get the Google News alerts, right? Where like it sends me headlines of things I likes. And it's either like world events or pop culture shit. Since the Snyder Cut got announced, I would say I've probably received in the quadruple digits of headlines involving in some capacity Zachary Edward Snyder. And Google, if you could make shit so I never see that man's name again, at this point, it's not even about him. Like, I don't care about him. I'm just sick of seeing shit about him. Especially the like, because it was starting to wind down. It was starting to go away, and they were like, "Oh, but he also had a Jon Stewart plan for the Snyder Cut."
I didn't touch it because I love you. I didn't touch it because I love you.
Well, Google touched it, and it told me over and over again for a month.
Google bad touched Travis about the Green Lantern.
Articles that were 2 weeks old, like. Here he cast this guy from every news source you could find, and I was just like, I don't fucking care. I don't care.
I can't bring myself to give a shit anymore.
I didn't read a single one. I forced myself, like, I'm not going to touch this. I can't touch this
because you'll convince that you want more.
Yeah, like I'll start going down the rabbit hole again.
As I have it written in the show notes, this is the part of the show where two white men enter the Black Superman discourse.
And generally, I'm sure we'll have good takes. I hope.
Yes. I know we will. I am going to... I'm going to say up top before we get into the article, I have seen a lot of Black creators, mostly in the TikTok space, talking about this, and their general takeaway that I've seen a lot of, and again, TikTok's algorithm is going to keep showing me similar shit. So I personally am inclined to agree with it, that Black Kal-El feels like damage control. After everything that has happened over the last couple years, especially the shit going down with Ray Fisher, Black Kal-El feels like damage control. Not Calvin Ellis, not Val Zod, and I've seen a lot of creators also point out, like, it's not like there's a shortage of Black legacy characters who have become incredibly popular. Mm-hmm. People fucking love Miles Morales now that he's in the mainstream. People are salivating over Sam Wilson, Captain America. You don't need to, and like,
which then surprises me why again they didn't go with Jon Stewart, didn't make Martian Manhunter, because Martian Manhunter, especially recently, they've decided that when he's human, he's Black.
Yeah.
And that there's, a lot of discourse there that like maybe that he just identifies as a, there's a lot going on with that I'm not equipped to look into. But
yeah,
why didn't they let him keep Jon Stewart in Justice League? Why didn't they let him keep Martian Manhunter prominently in Justice League? Because Martian Manhunter should have been there if he's already in the movie.
Iris West, Silas Stone, all getting the axe in the way that they did.
Iffy on Iris West, but
I'm with you on Iris. I'm with you on Iris just because I don't like the scene.
Oh yeah, the scene's terrible. But I just mean in general because they've recently made her a Black character, and it's not a problem, right? It's just that
she doesn't have the history of being
exactly.
I see what you mean with that one,
right? Yeah, like when they did it in the Flash TV show, I was like, oh, this is different, cool. Like there was no problem. I was just like, this is interesting, and I maybe it had already happened in the comics and I wasn't aware of it, or it was a switch that happened with the New 52. I wasn't sure, but yeah, I think generally that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and again, I'm the one, go look on my Twitter. I'm the same person who is advocated for a Black Fantastic Four. Not too long ago, I saw everybody doing their fan casting threads, and I hopped onto it. John David Washington is one of my front runners for Reed Richards.
Oh, that'd be so good. Oh, why would you say that to me? Now I want it. I want it.
Daveed Diggs is Ben Grimm, right? They're stuff like that. I've seen a lot of other people throwing those out there. Would be phenomenal, right? And there's that conversation about, well, is this character's race important to their story? And more often than not, it happens to be the white characters are ones who are easily kind of well, let's cast a person of color. It's a more seamless transition there because it doesn't have either symbolic story or thematic roots with their race mattering to the story.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do a lot with Black Kal-El. You can you can do a lot and restructure the whole story just with that one change. But I've seen a lot of people talking about how it feels disingenuous from WB. Now, we also have Ta-Nehisi Coates penning the script. I don't, again, like, how much of this is damage control? How much is this, we're going to put this prominent black writer in charge of Black Superman? Right? Like, how much is this is damage control? How much of this is just an idea that they want to go with? There's a lot of variables here. You know, neither of us are in the room for any type of meeting in, you know, the WB brass. So, like, I can't say with any amount of authority, this is damage control because Ray Fisher is ripping them a new one. However, the people who do feel that way, I can't say that I completely disagree with them.
Mm-hmm.
And if so much of the problem here has been, oh, well, people just don't buy Superman unless he's a bastard like Homelander or whatever, or he's a fascist dictator like an Injustice, and we want to do something different, commit to different and do Val Zod or Calvin Ellis is kind of where I fall on this. Not because I am necessarily offended or, you know, any type of like fandom menace, the quartering, you know, make 18 videos about it in a day type shit about a black Kal-El Clark Kent. But you have those characters already.
Mm-hmm.
And like, give them their time in the sun. Right? Like, because again, and this is going to be one that we just read directly from the article. Because there's a lot of stuff here that I want to discuss as we go. But like, legacy characters are in, I just feel like, and again, like, I'm going to see this no matter what.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think that, yeah. And again, there's a lot of cool shit you can do with Black Clark Kent. But I can't shake the damage control narrative out of my head. And like I said, I feel like, you know, if you want different and you're committing to this whole multiple realities bit,
yeah,
do an Elseworld, do Calvin, do, you know, Val. And like, those are right there.
Too, like you mentioned, like slotting out, trading white characters for characters of color, or people of color, is easy because their story is not tied to their race. But it's not easy because, like, especially in this case, right? They have a prominent black writer. They're looking for a black director. To put those people in charge of this story and to not have that be an element of the story wouldn't make any sense. And if they did Black Clark Kent, I don't know how you make it, right? Because if it's just the story of Clark Kent, but he's black, there's no difference there. It's just the iconography of there's a black man with the shield on in the classic red and blue. And I don't think you go out of your way.
I feel like they would. I don't know, and like it could boil down to no more than like potentially, you know, well, Superman's black, so's Ma and Pa Kent, you know, and like he ends up with a black family when he lands on Earth, and you know, we see different archetypes that we don't normally see black actors get to play brought to the screen in this movie that's gonna make buku bucks, right? Like there's this whole like layer upon layer upon layer that like it may not be more than Clark's just black in this movie, but there's a lot of like other trickle down that I think comes with that.
It'd be the same if you did if they did a black Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's a lot you have to consider with that. And I think that's one of the reasons they're probably never, like, at least in, you know, in upcoming years, they're not really going to play with that. Because there's a lot to consider there.
Yeah, I think Black Bruce is harder to do because there are so many overtones with Batman that become really hard, or like, you know, it all depends on your interpretation of Batman, because Batman very quickly just becomes a cop who can't be prosecuted. And that gets really gross and ugly when you think about it for too long and let Batman be interpreted that way. We talked on here whenever we did Batman Noel for Heroic History, you know, talking about like, you know, there's fash Batman, there's bourgeois Batman, and then there's like make Bruce Wayne protect Gotham as well, and relegate the I beat the piss out of people to like people like Two-Face and the Joker and the Penguin, who have all the resources they could ever need, but they are actively trying to take advantage of the people of Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot more you have to consider with the Black Bruce Wayne because of that. I think with the Black Clark, you don't have enough, right? Like, unless you go with the idea that he feels alienated because he's an alien and also because he's black, is the only thing I can think of, right? And that's something they could do.
Yeah.
But they could probably just do that with Val Zod.
Or Calvin Ellis.
Yeah, like, I don't know. And I don't know those characters that well. I'm going to be honest, I don't. So, like, maybe that's what they are. Like, that's what they're meant to be. And I'm, you know.
It's a really interesting conversation. And again, like, even on a really shallow surface level type thing, like, if you want to do something new with Superman, do it so it's not Clark. You know, like, there's just that element to it where, again, there's nothing wrong with doing Black Clark Kent, but you have really popular alternate versions of Superman that you can do new things with. So it's a very complex conversation. We're going to jump into the Hollywood Reporter article from Tatiana Seigel and Boris Kitt. While promoting his Amazon Prime film, Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, in late April, Michael B. Jordan put a kryptonite pin in any rumors that he might suit up as Warner Brothers' next Superman. Quote, "I'm flattered that people have me in the conversation," Jordan told Hollywood Reporter. "It's definitely a compliment, but I'm just watching on this one." With that, a whole new guessing game is kicked off centered on who will play the Man of Steel, and arguably more pressing, who will direct. Sources say J.J. Abrams, who is producing the film, is not among the many possibilities being considered. When Warner's announced this February that celebrated author Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing the screenplay and Abrams is producing, it did not address the matter of helming. Insiders say Warner and DC are committed to hiring a black director to tackle what will be the first cinematic incarnation of Superman featuring a black actor, with one source adding that Abrams put at the helm would be tone deaf. In a fitting twist, the director's search is pitting DC against none other than Marvel as Warner looks to fill its Superman vacancy. Marvel is on the hunt for a Blade helmer and is combing through the same list. But the question will come down to what kind of filmmaker Bad Robot and Warner want, an up-and-comer who can be backed by Abrams, or someone who knows his way around tentpoles and franchises, or an established filmmaker like Barry Jenkins or Ryan Coogler. The former list can include Creed 2's Stephen Keppel Jr., J.D. Dillard, Regina King, who just came off of many, many award nominations for One Night in Miami, Shaka King, who is popular at Warner's thanks to his Best Picture nominee, Judas and the Black Messiah. Some potential directors have met with both studios for both films, even as one agent said the process was phenomenally early. Meanwhile, Coogler may be a non-starter for either assignment, given that he will be occupied with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which releases July 8th, 2022. Coates isn't expected to deliver his Superman script until mid-December. Likewise, Marvel isn't rushing with Blade, whose start date was pushed from September to July 2022. So that studio can spend time working on the Stacey Osikofer pen script. While the next Superman will likely land with a named director, the star could be a relative unknown, as was the case with Brendan Routh Jr. when he suited up for Bryan Singer's 2006 Superman Returns and Henry Cavill donned the cape for Zack Snyder's 2013 Man of Steel. Neither Superman Returns nor Man of Steel lived up to the outsized expectations, with the former earning $391 million worldwide and the latter taking in $668 million. By contrast, James Wan's Aquaman nabbed $1.15 million in 2018, and Todd Phillips' Joker scored $1.07 billion and multiple Oscars. But establishing a new tone with the launch of the next Superman franchise is key to Warner Brothers' film future. As such, little will remain of the so-called Snyderverse vision, which enjoyed its last hurrah with Snyder's 4-hour Justice League bowing on HBO Max in March. Among his hand-picked stars that remain are Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, and Ezra Miller. DC sees its upcoming Flash. This is where things get interesting. DC sees its upcoming Flash movie, which began production in April in London, as its way forward in this post-Snyder world. With the inclusion of such characters as Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman, one thing Flash does is set up DC with a multiverse that allows for many of these incarnations and story universes to exist and have the superheroes interact. So far, every movie and TV show, with the exception of Matt Reeves' Batman starring Robert Pattinson and set for release in March, HBO Max's spin-off, Gotham PD, and Joker and its planned sequel will take place in the same universe. Now, when I read that, correct me if I'm wrong, I got Gotham PD, the Batman, and Joker are all in the same continuity.
No,
because I know
separate. Well, the Batman and Gotham are. The Batman and Gotham PD.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, because the way that they're all mentioned in one fell swoop, I thought it was saying that Joker is in the same continuity as the Batman.
No, I think they're just trying to say that those ones are concretely separate.
Okay. All right, reading it aloud, it made sense this time. Cool. The Superman film appears to be moving on to its own track and won't be a part of the universe as of now. Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that Coates is crafting a Kal-El in the vein of the original Superman and will have the protagonist hail from Krypton and come to Earth. While the story is currently being crafted and many details could change, one option under consideration is for the film to be a 20th century period piece. Diversity and representation remain key drivers of the DC universe moving forward. Warner's is developing a Latino-based Blue Beetle with Angel Manuel Soto attached to direct, and HBO Max is casting a gay Green Lantern character for an upcoming series. The CW's Arrowverse is about to get its second black female superhero series with Ava DuVernay's Naomi, and Batwoman obviously features Yavika Leslie as Batwoman, and Black Lightning is wrapping up. Yeah, then this closes with the continued speculation that Abrams will be helming a Justice League Dark movie. So yeah, interesting article. Good, it's really interesting to listen to. I'm very, 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 very intrigued as to where things go moving forward with this.
That reminded me, there was Flash news as well. Not the movie, the show.
Oh yeah, I saw
Tom Cavanaugh and the actor that plays Cisco both left the show.
Oof. Not long after the gentleman who plays Heatwave had a very ugly parting ways with the CW as well. I don't know if Cavanaugh and the name of the gentleman who plays Cisco escapes me currently.
I'm gonna look it up because it's gonna bother me.
I know I follow Tom Cavanaugh on Instagram still, and I see him all the time. That's the reason why I can remember his name. But yeah, I wonder if, because I know they were threatening that like more CW people
Carlos
would leave.
Valdez.
Thank you. But yeah, so that's what we got. Travis, any closing thoughts on that article or?
I'm curious to see who they're going to get to direct. I was looking through like just some prominent black actors, right? And the one that stuck out to me to play a black Superman was John David Washington. And I think that's just me like really liking him in Tenet and wanting to see him in a super suit now. I don't really care what that super suit is. Like, I want him as something. I want him somewhere in a movie that is adapted from a superhero comic book. But I think that It's interesting to me that like because diversity's never been a problem in the TV shows. They've been pretty good about that, especially in recent years. That it's good to see them doing this with the movies. It's curious that they haven't been doing it, but also they've had so few of them comparatively.
Yeah, yeah. There's less movies for that. Yeah. Whereas the MCU, it's kind of the reverse. We're like, hey, like you guys have pretty diverse TV shows, but whole lot of white, whole lot of white dudes for the movies, which is changing. Hello, motorcycle man. Is on my side for once, but yeah.
As for there's been rumors going around that the CW's been kind of rocky since last season with the end of Arrow and the fact that we still call it the Arrowverse. Right? So seeing 2 headliner actors of The Flash leave, I think is a clue that maybe Flash will be wrapping up soon as well. And like,
I would not be surprised.
I think whatever survives the CW, I think might end up getting ported to HBO Max and put under that.
You might be onto something.
Because
you might be onto something.
Superman and Lois is on HBO Max right now as it airs. Batwoman's on HBO Max. I haven't checked for the other ones.
May not be a bad idea for them to kind of embrace the model that I know that like NBC's been doing. Or like every time they advertise one of their shows. Like I was at work the other night and I kept seeing ads for the new Law and Order. And it was like, Law and Order, organized crime, next day on Peacock. Like,
well, CW has an app. Like CW has a free app you can watch their stuff on. It's just garbage. So scrapping that, putting everything on HBO Max just makes sense. And then for the shows like, if Batwoman gets an HBO Max budget, that could be.
They could throw down.
Yeah. I'm going to double check really quick and see, because like the CW stuff notably was not on DC Universe.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you saying that.
That's why I was surprised Stargirl was doing both, because it was originally just for Arrow is not on HBO Max.
Interesting.
The Glash is not a real superhero.
What?
I mistyped and put Glash, like Glash.
Oh.
The Flash is not on it. So the kind of legacy CW shows don't seem to be. Let's see if Black Lightning's on there. Black Lightning is not on HBO Max. Stargirl has to be. Yeah, okay, Stargirl is. Legends of Tomorrow? Not Legenda. Legenda.
But yeah, it's interesting stuff going on at DC, and
I could easily see them like either canceling everything but Batwoman and Superman and Lois, going the route of the movies where they just start doing random shows and they don't connect to each other, or ending their comic book slate on CW, porting what's going to survive over to HBO Max and let that be on that payroll.
Making room for Riverdale spinoffs and Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, right. There's that like Kung Fu or whatever, that new show that just came out.
Yeah.
That, I mean, hey, they can do what they want.
Yeah, I love that. Just name the show Kung Fu. Well, I think that's all we have for you guys this week. So, Travis, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political, and on Twitch on Wednesdays around 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming at Black Leader 439, where we're still playing Assassin's Creed.
Yes, indeed.
Jarod.
Yes.
Where?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552, and you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Case and Breon, Zach Knaus, Delta 9, and the Waffle Wizard. You guys help us make the content that we love to produce. Be sure to consider the $5 tier, where you get access to Knights of the Nerd Republic's Versus series, Heroic History 101, the Nerd Academy Movie Club audio commentaries, and check out the student store link on the website to check out all manner of Nerd Academy merch and goodies. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you all so very much for listening, and class dismissed.